Good afternoon. I'm Maria Snyder, and I'm a child care provider in St. Paul. As your MC for the afternoon, I want to welcome you all to this event and give you an idea of what you'll be hearing about from our speakers. As providers and parents, we stand together to call for accountability from lawmakers, whose lack of leadership is hurting children and families and child care providers in Minnesota. While the federal government has been attacking Minnesotans everywhere this year, child care providers have been strategically targeted since December. I've been in this industry since my mom founded my center in 1998. I operated my center through COVID. I have never seen this level of threats, violence, or instability in child care. It's tragic for children that the federal government would allow them to be terrorized in their child cares, in their schools, and in their homes. That their own government would abduct them and their families, detain children in inhumane conditions. It's a damn shame to have to teach 3-year-olds how to go into lockdown at a child care center. It's tragic for children that lawmakers attack Somali child care providers, and that they would attack all child care providers who are proud to accept child care assistance like me, because we believe that all children, regardless of their income, deserve access to high-quality early learning.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Those lights blinded me. These so-called leaders would rather shake hands with YouTubers for clicks than suggest a single policy change from an entire year of work on the House Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Policy Committee. We don't want clicks. We want real accountability for the 23,000 children who rely on child care assistance so their families can go to work, and for the thousands more Minnesotan children who are on wait lists for these programs. It seems many of our lawmakers would rather run on a problem that they manufacture than actually create solutions that work for kids and families. Childcare has been underfunded for decades. In St. Paul alone last year, 7 childcare centers closed down. This problem persists across the state, causing family destabilization and economic instability. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to, families across Minnesota are struggling. They can't find and afford quality childcare. It doesn't matter who you voted for in the last election, early childhood educators can't afford to stay in the profession, in the field that we love, and more are being pushed out every day. I'm sick to see Republican leaders bragging about the mayhem that they've caused for children and for childcare. At the same time, I've seen many Democratic lawmakers wring their hands and offer kind words, and yet no reprieve for Minnesota families who are struggling right now.
Right now.
Page turn. That's why we're standing together here today. We need action now. We're urging leaders to step up and do the right thing for kids and for child care providers. We need an economic relief package that stabilizes child care centers, supports educators, and keeps care available for Minnesota families. We need help to put out this fire, and we need long-term plans to finally make child care accessible for every Minnesota family. So with that, I invite speakers to come on up. Amanda.
Hello, my name is Amanda, and I'm the director of a Minnesota Child Care Center. Last week, I had the privilege of going to Washington, D.C. with an amazing group of Minnesotans to meet with legislators. While there, I shared how ICE's presence in our community is harming children, families, and child care programs in our state. Today, I want to make sure our state leaders truly understand that the past month and a half have pushed child care programs to our breaking point. Running a high-quality child care program that families can afford has always been challenging.
That's right.
But legislation passed in the past few years has helped improve the economic conditions for child care programs. There were still financial struggles, but we were beginning to see improvements. Then, in December, Minnesota Speaker Lisa Damuth unleashed a YouTube influencer to undermine faith in Minnesota child care programs with a racist disinformation campaign.
Whoa.
This directly led to the president sending 3,000 ICE agents to Minnesota to terrorize our communities. Child care programs already stretched to our limits have had to find ways to make sure our families and staff who are terrified to leave their homes are safe, fed, and housed. We are exhausted, and our budgets are being stretched as we see drops in attendance due to fear. We struggle to plan how to pay our bills and employees as we worry about the federal government not fulfilling its financial obligations to childcare programs in our state.
That's right.
I didn't choose to be a childcare professional because I had dreams of being rich. None of us do.
No.
I chose it because I believe in the importance of helping our youngest Minnesotans have a great start at life. One of the most important jobs we have is to make sure every child is safe, loved, and valued every single day.
Yes, that part.
ICE's presence in our communities and hurtful language by politicians is harming children instead of keeping them safe.
Right.
To Speaker Demuth, did you have any real evidence of suspected fraud when you sent Nick Shirley out to harass and scare families in childcare programs? Did you run a background study on Nick before sending him out to jeopardize our children?
No.
And if you truly had concerns about fraud in childcare, why didn't you report it in any of the safe and ethical ways available to you?
That
These are the questions our state legislators should be demanding answers to. Instead, too many of you have stood by silently during these attacks on our childcare community. During COVID, you asked childcare to be on the front lines, and we were there for you. But the past month and a half, many of you have not been there for us.
No.
It is time to start repairing the damage done to our children, families, and childcare programs. Today, I call on state leaders to hold those who have caused this damage responsible and help repair the damage they have caused to our childcare programs. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Tiffany, and I am a teacher at a child care center, and I have noticed how hard it's been. What happened since ICE has been here, I'm a parent, and since ISIS came to Minnesota, you made our jobs like 3 times hard. It's not now just taking care of them, teaching their ABCs, safe play, or their numbers. Now we gotta teach them how to replay, because now kids are playing like everybody's the bad guy, or I gotta hide. Though that's what you wanted for our kids? I don't think so. That's not what we want. We want our kids to be able to play safe, come to daycare without our parents being afraid. We would like for you guys to take accountable of y'all bringing ISIS here, because we didn't ask for that. We asked for our kids to be safe, for our families to be able to go to work, for our kids to want to learn, but not learn in fear. You know, now we have to watch what we teach them, because now they're already afraid, and that you put it there. We're not responsible for them being afraid and to tuck and hide. We're responsible to teach them their ABCs and how to make friends and how to trust people so they can grow in the world. Now you done put and damaged these kids, and you done made them afraid to even come out their house and to trust their neighbor. We've been their neighbors this whole time. We never had a problem with it. So if you did, why you didn't come to us and ask us the questions? Nobody talked to us. We're the daycare providers. We take care of the kids. You guys never asked the child care people what was going on. But then you bring ISIS here saying you're gonna help us. Why did you take the funding out of child care when you guys say that you are for kids? So if you are for kids, why come child care does not have the highest budget or the funding to support all these daycares? How come if you say that Minnesota have all these child cares, we've been here forever. I started working at a child care center since I was 16 years old. And I do it because of the kids saying thank you, or seeing them graduate, or seeing them go to a high school. That's our pride, right? That's what we get out of it. This is not to be rich. This is to keep the kids safe and for them to get somebody to trust. But you guys made it 9 times hard for them to trust somebody they see every day. And that's not fair. Thank you.
We don't write checks.
Yeah, we've got one more speaker. Okay. She's battling those Minnesota roads.
Hello. Tiffany Roberts, yes. Hello. All right.
So, Tiffany.
My name is Tiffany Roberts. I am the owner of Mighty Ones Family Child Care in St. Paul. I have been a licensed provider for 19 years now. I'm here for my children, my babies. I became a child care provider because I couldn't afford child care of my own when I had 4 young children. What started as helping church family and my own became nearly 2 decades of service, serving low-income families and children on child care assistance and the Early Learning Scholarship so they can survive and care for their families. I have cared for generations of families. Some of my current parents were once children in my program. I serve children with special needs who have been turned away elsewhere. I work with families one-on-one to help their children thrive. On February 2nd this year, during nap time, the Youth and Family Services came to my home and reviewed attendance records. They asked to review October through December, and I showed them what I had, and I was told that the format that I was using was not approved. It included the names, the in and outs, and a place where parents can either initial or sign. They said it wasn't acceptable. 3 days later, my parents were notified that their children could no longer attend my program because I was no longer funded with them. Families panicked. My families panicked. The parents of children with autism broke down in tears because they don't have other options. I had no knowledge of what was happening. I didn't receive my notice of funding withheld until February 10th. It was not fraud. I made a paperwork mistake and trying to comply with food program as well as the CCAP. My license is active, and I actually had a recent visit mid-October and was never told that there was an issue with my sign-in. I had adjusted my system to be in compliance before they had even showed up. I had already started doing my old sign-in as of January, and when I realized that the system I had in place wasn't really working for me either. So when they showed up, I was already back in compliance. I offered for them to look at my current sign-in. I was told that they were not there for that and they only wanted to look at those months. And I asked them if they could look at beforehand, before I started the other sign-in, and they said they could not look at that as either. My staff and I are scared, my families are scared, and I'm terrified of being forced to close because I can't afford to stay open. When lawmakers talk about widespread fraud, this is the impact. Small providers like me get caught in the crossfire. Families lose their child care, providers lose businesses, and communities lose stability. I wake up every morning and pray, and I love and serve and teach my little ones. even without pay, because I refuse to let my family suffer.
Yeah.
I am tired, I am scared, I haven't slept, I haven't eaten in days. But I am standing here because my babies deserve better. Our communities deserve better. We need leadership that supports providers and protects families, not policies that tear us apart. Thank you.
All right. So we've heard today from just 3 of the passionate, brave, and deeply committed Minnesotans who keep childcare running in our state. They're the backbone of our workforce, our economy, and our communities. Their stories say more than I could, and so I'll close where we began. Minnesota needs an economic relief package now that stabilizes childcare programs, supports educators who make this work possible, and keeps care accessible for families who depend on it. We need immediate support to put out this fire. We need long-term solutions that finally make childcare affordable and accessible for every Minnesota family. Lawmakers, the time for studies and statements and thank yous is over. We want action. Stand up, protect children. Thank you. Questions, if you have them.